my deep.
That sounds good.
Welcome aboard.
We're up, Nick.
Wonderful.
A case in point.
When Gary came back from his vacation, he immediately sought out his friend and coworker, Jim. Jim was preparing the lettuce for the salad bar when Gary stepped up to say hello. The two shook hands, and Gary started talking about the fun he had on his trip to the Caribbean.
The only bad thing is my stomach's been kind of upset. I don't know, I picked something up and haven't been able to shake it.
Oh, that's too bad. You gonna tell Chef?
Oh, yeah, I think I'll be okay to work in something other than food prep.
The two shook hands again.
Super.
Jim grabbed a head of lettuce and went back to work. To play it safe, the chef suggested Gary see his doctor. The physician sent him home. But the next day, 3 people who had eaten at the restaurant the night before became ill. So did 3 employees, including Jim. The chef was stumped. Hadn't he played it safe? Why had there been an outbreak? What happened?
The Educational Foundation of the National Restaurant Association presents the Serving Safe Food video series. Personal Hygiene with Chef John Reese.
Let's be upfront about it. The most common cause of foodborne illness is human error. It often starts with an infected food handler. That could be you or me. But if the infected employee is sent home, what's the problem? See if you can figure that out before we present the answer to our case in point. In the meantime, I want to show you why your personal hygiene is so important to food safety. We're going to get right down to the basics, like proper hand washing. I'm actually going to show you how to do that. We're going to talk about proper work attire, your clothes, your jewelry, fingernails, the whole bit. And, well, your personal habits, like bathing or smoking. You want to be sure your personal habits don't put your guests or coworkers at risk of foodborne illness. Okay, hygiene. It's a personal thing. But when it comes to the safety of your guests, you can't take it personally. You have standards, right? Because it's important. Important to food safety. Even healthy people carry harmful bacteria and viruses around in their bodies. These bacteria and viruses are invisible to the naked eye. You need a microscope to see them. How many there are and where they go depends on us and what we do here and don't do. But actually, we shouldn't be starting here because good hygiene begins at home. How do you feel? If you're sick, call your supervisor. You should stay home and get well. If you have a cut or abrasion, bandage it and put on a pair of disposable plastic gloves. You should bathe or shower each day. Wear clean clothes and change into your uniform at work. Your fingernails should be clean and trimmed. No nail polish or false fingernails. And leave the jewelry at home.
Proper attire.
So you're going to change out of the clean clothes you wore from home into a clean uniform at work. All my kitchen staff wear clean aprons. Underline, clean. When they get dirty, they get changed. Remember, an apron is not a hand towel. Don't wipe your hands on the apron. And keep the strings tucked away so they won't catch on anything or come loose. Bacteria need some place to grow, and they love hair. No matter how much you wash it, you have some bacteria in there. So let's not get it in the food. Wear a hair restraint, a hat, a net, whatever. It keeps your hair out of the food and keeps your hands out of your hair.
Proper hand washing.
Okay, so you're healthy, you're at work, you're in your uniform, clean, right? Think you're ready for work now? Just about. First, you have to wash your hands. And not just wash them, I mean wash them. And not here. Over here, my friend, that sink is for prepping vegetables. Now this sink is for hand washing. That's what it's for, and that's all that goes on here. Okay, I promised I'd show you how to wash your hands, and I will. But first, let's talk about when to wash your hands. You must wash your hands after using the restroom. Wash your hands before you start working. Wash them if you come in contact with anything that might cause contamination. I'm talking about sneezing or touching raw food. Wash before and after you go on break. Wash your hands after mopping the floor or taking out the garbage. All right, I've been building up to how to do it, so let's get on with it. And since it's real important to our work, we have our own special way. Takes about 20 seconds to do it and to explain it, so here goes. You want to wash all areas of your hands and arms that are exposed, at least up to your elbows. Use hot water, as hot as you can comfortably stand. You take the soap and lather your hands and lower arms. As I said, wash all the way up to your elbows. You want to use a nail brush for your fingernails. Then rinse your hands thoroughly. Dry your hands by using individual hand towels or a hot air dryer. That's pretty hard for bacteria to stand up to that kind of punishment. That's why we do it. That's why it's important. If you wear disposable gloves on the job, now is the time to put them on, after you wash your hands. Be sure to wear them if you have a cut or abrasion. And if they get dirty, cut, or contaminated, wash your hands, then put on a fresh pair of gloves.
Personal habits.
Your personal habits are your own business, okay? Except when they could be a hazard to your customers or coworkers. Then it's your business to do whatever is necessary to eliminate that hazard. No big deal. Let's just go through some of the problem areas. No smoking or eating or chewing gum or tobacco on the job. Can't do it. Simple example here. If you smoke, the cigarette carries bacteria from your mouth to your fingers, and that could get in the food, or the ashes could get in the food. Eating and drinking can contaminate food the same way smoking can. Simple rule of thumb should do it. If you're working, you're working. Eat, smoke, have some coffee during a break or your meal period or after work. No exceptions. And by the way, wash your hands after you take that break or meal or smoke. Don't sneeze or cough near food. Don't touch your hair, your face. Don't scratch any part of your body while handling food. If you need to taste the food, place a small amount in a dish and use a spoon to taste a sample. Well, not such a big list, really. Just some important things to keep in mind when you come to work each day. I recommend you actually go through a mental checklist before you start work. Let's go through mine. 1. Be sure you're not sick. 2. Bathe daily. 3. Be sure you have no cuts or abrasions. If you do, bandage them and wear disposable plastic gloves. 4. Wash your hands all the way up to the elbows and do it for 20 seconds. 5. Trim and clean your fingernails. 6. Don't wear false fingernails, jewelry, makeup, nail polish, anything that could contaminate the food. 7. Wear clean clothes to work and change into a clean uniform at work. 8. Wear a clean apron. 9. Use a hair restraint. 10. No smoking or eating on the job. Your own establishment may have other policies and procedures you'll need to add to your checklist. The important thing is to go through it before you start working, and do it every day. All right, back to our case in point. What have you figured out? What led to the outbreak?
Gary, back from vacation and suffering from an illness, shakes hands with his coworker Jim. The coworker goes back to work, prepping fresh lettuce. Shortly thereafter, Gary tells his supervisor about the illness and is sent home. Nevertheless, a small outbreak occurs the next day.
The answer to a case in point.
Well, it was great that Gary reported to his supervisor, but in the meantime, he contaminated Jim's hands. Gary sniffled, wiped his nose with his right hand, and then shook hands with Jim. Instead of going directly back to work, Jim should have washed his hands first. The bacteria traveled from Gary's hands to Jim's hands and then onto the lettuce Jim was preparing. And when customers ate the salad, they became sick. So, in one sense, Gary was careful, but he didn't really take care. That's why we leave you with that each time. And the main concern is right here. It's all in your hands, my friend. Keep them clean. You take care.